guys, it's your girl Halls Who, and we are back with another short horror reaction video. Alright guys, yo, what's up? How are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling? I hope y'all are doing and feeling well. Alright? Thank you guys that are continuously supporting me by subscribing, by liking, and by hitting that notification bell. Y'all are loved. And to all my newbies that are just clicking that button and pressing play and just checking your girl out, welcome. Okay? Got more content for you. More subscribers, more content. Go ahead. Hit that like button. Run those likes up. Hit that notification bell because I know you want to know what's going on with me, right? And go ahead and comment. Let me know what you want to see. All right? From your girl. I will also put the link to the description of the video down below so you can see without my commentary. All right? So today we are watching, I believe this is True KFC. It's finger licking good. All right? Let's see what this is up to. Do y'all like chicken like I like chicken? Are y'all a Popeyes person or are y'all a KFC person? Comment down below. Let your girl know. I'm interested. Let's do this.
I can't imagine most people have enthralling dinners under the roof of a KFC. But I, for one, remember dining there far more times than the average person. It used to be something my parents would do for me and my siblings back in the day. It wasn't enough for them to just bring it home. They wanted it to be more than just takeout. A family outing, they would always say. That said, I couldn't tell you I hated the place until the last time I went, only a few weeks ago. I was just about to move out of my parents' house, and they'd convinced me to go with them to KFC one last time, before I'd taken flight, or whatever. It was purely nostalgic. I don't think any one of us still cared for the food there. It's different now. Anyways, my parents and I were just minding our business in the dining room of the KFC, chewing on regrettable numbers of questionable pieces of fried chicken in complete silence. My dad had just excused himself to the restroom after I tried to break the ice by asking what him and my mom would do after I left home. That's when this man barged in.
None of your business.
A man that looked exactly like the Colonel of Kentucky Fried fame. But it couldn't be him. The real Colonel was long dead. Everyone in the building, the customers and the employees, all turned their heads at this guy. Well, a mighty fine Friday afternoon to y'all. I'm Colonel Sanders. Right as he started speaking, I think the majority of us dropped our guard. By that point, everyone had seen the new commercials for KFC with that weird-looking spokesman/character person, and this guy nailed the act. It seemed obvious that this was some sort of corporate PR stunt, complete with an actor for the mascot and a room full of real, unwilling customers. For the most part, though, people just shrugged and went back to eating idly as the Colonel continued. I care indubitably for the quality of my establishments, which is why I'll be performing a full top-down inspection of this franchise today for all of you wonderful folks.
No, you're not. Not today. You're not.
Yes, managers, go check for a special message on your computers.
Like, why are you here?
The employees seemed to believe the guy, too, at least for the moment. So the rest of us went along with it.
Oh, my gosh.
I was just hoping we weren't being filmed by some hidden camera crew. Though my mother and I went on pretending to talk to each other, we were watching the Colonel from the corner of our eyes. He'd started his inspection in the dining room, walking up to all the tables and asking each of the customers, "How's your food, sir? The staff treat you well? Everything to your liking?" But each time, with every customer, at the end of his questions, he leaned over the table and stared unflinchingly down into their eyes and ask, "Tell me, is it finger-licking good?" My mind. Well, how nice to see a young man repay his mother with a nice dinner. He spoke to both of us, but he only looked at me.
No.
And by that I mean, he didn't blink, twitch, or glance away, even a little bit. You're a fine young man, ain't you, boy?
Some of that.
I started trembling.
He wanted some of you.
I knew this dinner was going to be tense, but I hadn't thought I'd be put on the spot quite like this. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Sanders,
No,
you
no.
have to back
Thank
the
you
hell
for
up on
dining
my
here,
face.
son. How's your fried chicken? Tell me, is it up to your standards? I trust you now. My eyes darted around, looking for a response, a sign from my mom, or to see my dad appear from the restroom. But everything seemed frozen. Very suddenly, the
Dude, you
colonel
got a
fell to
whole
his knees beside
mustache.
me, reaching for my hands. Tell me now, boy, is it finger licking good? He kept leaning in towards me with his mouth hanging open, staring at my fingers, like he himself was about to lick the crumbs off of them to prove it. That's when my dad finally got off the toilet and came back to his family. He shouted, "Hey, weirdo!" He then yanked that wacko away from me faster than I could even react.
Yeah, get your
The
ass
colonel
away from my
tumbled to the greasy
kid.
floor of the dining room.
What's wrong
You
with
trying
you?
to propose to my son, punk? Get out of here before I make you wish I was a cop. Whoever that guy was, he wasn't official KFC staff, but he was definitely a wimp. He didn't put up any sort of fight after my dad threw him. He just rushed to his feet, laughed at us for a moment, then ran out the door. Come on, Margaret. We're getting out of here. We all got up and left the table. And I think that'll be the last time I ever step foot within 100 feet of a KFC. Later that weekend, my dad caught the news from the local channel which stated, the guy who impersonated the colonel had gotten arrested the night after we saw him. Reports say he disguised himself as the mascot to get into close proximity with customers to harass them. He then took it a step further by grabbing their greasy fingers and biting them off. He would flee the scene immediately after and hit up at least 5 locations before getting caught by the police. Several people were missing fingers from that one spree. I was stunned to think just how close I'd gotten to becoming an unfortunate victim of that weirdo's hunt for greasy fingers. And to this day,
my
I get
God.
queasy whenever I see fried chicken.
Oh. Oh. Guys, that first story, man, let me tell you. They had so many instances that they should have been out of there. If I see Colonel Sanders come in there, one, he's dead and gone. That man is buried under the ground for the longest. Two, I'm not about to sit up here and have no mascot or whoever the hell it is from a commercial come around sucking and licking on his finger, drooling all over. I'm a germaphobe in the first place. And there's one way that you're going to get me to exit your restaurant. Do that. You ain't going to see me no more. I'm out. Like, nah. Not happening. At all. That was intense. That was crazy. Let's get to number 2, man.
I was a high school graduate that recently got hired for full-time work at KFC. We were the biggest chicken venue around town, as places like Popeyes weren't as big of a franchise at the time. Our hours of operations were usually 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., sometimes 12 p.m. for close if it was the weekend.
Be honest, how long
The
was your
job
hours?
came second nature to me. It was always clock in, clean up, fry the chicken, and of course assist any customers at the cashier. There
If it
was
wasn't
one
for
memorable
me,
time when I was
KFC
on my
wouldn't
way to
exist,
work,
kid.
and
At least spare me some leftover chicken during your lunch break, okay? Get a job, old man.
The first initial weeks of the job were swell, but things took a sudden turn for the worst. We had started running low on chicken, and my boss began to point the finger at me. He assumed I had been taking home chicken after my shift was done, but I assured him it wasn't me. This began happening on multiple occasions where large batches of chicken suddenly started disappearing. It had come to a point where my boss began to threaten my job. I pleaded with my boss to investigate the day shift employees, but it was impossible for them to be the culprits as he supervised them during that shift.
Stop eating my chicken, kid!
Sir, it's not me. I bring my own
Is
lunch.
that old
If
guy
any more
from,
chicken goes missing in this
Spider-Man?
kitchen, you're fired, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
That's what it looks
It was
like.
finally that time
It looks
again.
like old dude from
The
Spider-Man.
night shift. Or should I say, my potential last shift at KFC. My pride and ego wouldn't allow me to accept the fact that I was being falsely accused, so I remained at the front counter, while occasionally looking behind my shoulder every 5 minutes or so. The time was roughly 11:50 p.m. on a Friday. I was just about to wrap up another successful shift until I heard a loud thud coming from the kitchen area. I began to cautiously walk to the back and saw no sign of anyone. No raccoons, no lurking intruders, just the standard kitchen appliances with the drive-through window securely locked in place. That's when I heard a sound coming from the stock room where we kept all our inventory. I could hear the sound of vigorous chewing as I approached the door. I knew someone had to be in there eating all our fried chicken. Was this going to be the day I finally catch the culprit in the act? I placed my hand on the door handle and opened the door in one swift motion, unveiling the same colonel I had seen before, dousing his face with fried chicken. My suspicions were accurate. The reason for all the missing chicken stood there before me. How the hell did you get in here? Boy, I couldn't resist. Y'all make a big enough batch to feed the whole town, might I say. It was you. You were the one that was eating our chicken the whole time. How could I not? It's so finger-licking good. I slammed the door shut, making sure to lock it so I didn't have to get physical with the colonel. He then started violently punching the door with his bare fists as I stood back in awe, not knowing whether I should call the cops or run the hell out of there.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Open the door! I'm gonna show you a new meaning of finger-licking good, kid. Leave it alone before I call the cops! I sprinted towards the front counter while arming myself with a knife from the kitchen. I began dialing 911 while trying to explain to the operator the bizarre situation I was in. After a long 10 to 15 strenuous minutes, the police finally showed face. I began directing them to the stock room where I had initially trapped the man. A group of armed policemen rammed their way through the door only to see no sign of the colonel. What we then discovered was that there was a panel on the ceiling that had been removed, thus allowing access for any culprit to enter and exit the building at their convenience. After further investigation, it was later found out through parking lot surveillance cameras that the colonel had been sneaking through the KFC building every night through the same panel on the roof leading to the stockroom. He had been eating our chicken for God knows how long. What makes the story more discomforting was how he would casually jump across the roof and into the KFC bucket sign, just so he could crawl inside and sleep there every night. All I know is that that man is mentally sick in the head and needs to seek some kind of professional help.
Let it rain in that bucket. One good time. Let it rain. He ain't gonna go back no more. You see that? Flood out this ass.
I used to be friends with this guy who worked at KFC. His name was Jake. I knew him for years throughout school.
One thing I learned.
When we got out, we ended up getting jobs at the same strip mall.
You don't make friends.
I worked at the GameStop just across the parking lot from the KFC he worked at. I could see the colonel's sign out of the window all day long, so by the end of my shifts, I was usually craving some fried chicken. Plus, it was always nice to stop by and talk to my friend Jake at the register. After I finished work one night, I decided to buy some chicken for dinner, and to remind Jake to get on Call of Duty once he got home. I knew he was working that night, and he told me his shift would be ending soon after mine. However, I didn't see him when I walked into the restaurant. Actually, there was hardly anyone in there, except one person behind the register where Jake should have been standing. I'd never seen this guy before. For some reason, he looked out of place behind a fast food counter, like it was his first day or something. He stared at me awkwardly as I approached the register. To my surprise, however, his customer service was more friendly and hospitable than just about anyone I'd ever seen working minimum wage. Good evening, sir. How may I take your order? Have you seen Jake? I wanted to stop by and say hi to him. Oh, Jake's on break, good sir, but I can help you. On break? It didn't make sense that Jake would wait until the end of his shift to take his only break. I tried to discreetly look behind the guy at the counter and into the kitchen. From what I could see, the kitchen was empty. There was nobody at work back there,
Ooh,
No cleaning,
something else
no
to
dishwashing
glance
going on.
onto.
Not one sound or sight in the whole place except me and this weird guy. And he didn't even have a name tag.
All out of there.
Excuse me,
Things
I don't
seem
mean to
right.
be that guy, but is your manager around? I am the manager, good sir. Yes, it's just me tonight, holding it down for the customers. Why do you ask? Are you interested in becoming part of the KFC team? Thank you, but no, I'm already employed.
I ain't interested to be
I was
a part
still
of
wearing my
nothing. I'm
GameStop
interested
uniform
to
at
know
the time,
how your
so I
teeth
pointed
get
to my
grew.
name tag. Ah, well, I see.
I think it's
It's a
time
shame,
for you to
though.
go ahead
You
and,
would have made great fried chicken.
supply
Could I just get a 10-piece bucket and a Coke? Sure thing, Flynn. Cash only, by the way. The card reader's broken. I handed him $10 and reluctantly tipped him some quarters from the change he gave me. I felt a little bad for being rude to the guy, but I just felt so much more at ease when he finally walked away. It took him several minutes to come back with my order, even though no other customers came inside or through the drive-thru while I waited. Every one of those minutes was tense. All I wanted to do was get my fried chicken, go home, and play some video games with my friend, wherever he was. When at last I finally got my meal, I grabbed it and rushed out of there, paying no attention to the bone-chilling ear-to-ear grin on that weird guy's face as he handed me the bucket. I sped off in my car and drove home in a rush to get away from him. I changed out of my work clothes in a flash, then got online and ready to game. While I waited for Jake to get on, I started to eat my dinner for the night. 10 delicious pieces of heart-stopping, artery-clogging fried chicken. I remember thinking to myself as I mowed through the pieces, man, this has got to be the best Kentucky Fried Chicken I've ever had. I guess that guy could have been the manager. It's so good. It doesn't even taste like chicken. Maybe it's duck. After a while, I started to slow down. Jake still hadn't got on, and I only had about 3 pieces of chicken left. That's when I noticed something strange at the bottom of the bucket. It was breaded like fried chicken, but it was too small to be that. It was a small rectangular thing. Out of curiosity, I fished it out of the bucket. As soon as I picked it up, all the breading crumbled away, revealing a small piece of white plastic with a pin glued onto it. Did that weird guy lose his name tag in the batter?
Ew.
But when I turned it over, the name printed on it was Jake! The whole time I'd been waiting on him, he was wafting into my nose, getting ground between my teeth, and sliding down into my stomach. No, this can't be. I dropped the bucket onto the ground as I trembled at the thought. Was that really Jake? I couldn't believe it. I picked up my phone and called Jake, but there was no answer. I panicked. I quickly called his mom, only to find out that Jake had not come home that night. Tell me, is it finger licking good?
All right, guys. That was my commentary of 3 true KFC horror stories from Horror Shorts Party. He's amazing. Love his content. If you like what you saw, go subscribe to him. He's awesome. But also subscribe to your girl. Okay? Hit that notification bell so you can stay in touch. Hit that like button. All of my social medias will be down below if you want to go ahead and follow your girl on any of my social medias. Go ahead and hit our couples channel, J&H Chronicle. Amazing content over there. Get those subscribers up, man. And I will see you guys next video. Peace.